everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome back for another video. Today I've got another flip through one of my travel scrapbooks, this time from my trip to Paxos. I've got lots of videos from this trip already on my channel. I've got a vlog, a pack with me, and actually a video of me making a couple of pages in this scrapbook, and there's also a guide to Paxos on the channel, so I'll leave those linked below. But yeah, so I thought I'd flip through the scrapbook because there'll be things in here that aren't in any of those videos. So this is obviously the title page, so we went from the 27th of May to the 3rd of June, so this was over the half-term break in the UK. So I just stuck this map of Paxos in. I haven't yet actually noted where we stayed, so our villa was sort of round about here somewhere, and then you've got the main towns of Paxos. And then this is Planos is who we booked the holiday through. So they gave us these luggage tags. They sent us them in the post to put on our luggage so that they could identify whose suitcases they were when we got picked up for the boat. So we flew with a company called Enter Air, which I'd never heard of before, but they were pretty good. We weren't delayed or anything. I love this picture because on all the trips we've done so far, my boyfriend actually let me have the window seat of the plane, so I was adamant this time that he was going to have the window seat, and then we got on the plane and his seat had no window, so I felt awful about that. But yeah, so I just thought that was a funny picture to put in. And then got this picture of the plane in the sky. This was, we had some breakfast at the airport, and we sat and watched the planes before we got on the plane. And then this is a picture of Lee at the port before we got on the boat to get across to Paxos. So these are so just some information about the boat. So this was our ticket. So we went with the Camellia line, the company. Again, on the other videos I've done, there's a bit more information about those, and I just put the timetable from the boats. I'm trying to learn Greek, so I want to be able to try and translate this one day, but still a little way off of that. And this little pouch here was from a gift bag and from some souvenirs I bought, so I just sort of turned it into a little pocket for this. So this was the first time when I went to Greece where I didn't stay in like a self-catering hotel apartment. We actually rented our own villa, which was one of the best things I've ever done. It was absolutely amazing. So this was the name of our place, Rashi Sunrise, and this was the sign pointing towards it because it was in the middle of nowhere down a dirt track. So yeah, sort of remade the signs because I thought I'd forgotten to print this picture off, but found it in the end. So yeah, this was the garden area and it was just absolutely amazing. Had our own little pool and it was just amazing. I have no words for it. And because this side of the island faces east, obviously we saw lots of sunrises, so managed to wake up early enough to see the sunrise properly and got some pictures for that. And then so this is like the pool area, so we spent a lot of time here chilling for a few days, so just got lots of different snaps and sort of us lounging around by the pool. And so we ate breakfast in the garden every morning, sort of overlooking the view. And we also, the company left us a bottle of wine in the fridge, which was lovely. So we sat there some evenings just drinking wine and chilling. It was perfect. And then as part of our package, because the villa was in the middle of nowhere. We had a car hire included, and I'd never driven abroad before. I've always wanted to, but never had the opportunity, so I was a little bit nervous, but got used to it in the end. So yeah, this was our little car that we had for the week. So then these next few pages are just sort of dedicated to the pool area, the sort of fun we got up to in the pool. So I bought these little, they're not lilos, they've got sort of inflatable pillows, and then it's netting that so it's a bit like a hammock. I bought these with us, so we sort of spent a lot of time just chilling on those. And then one day I took my cup of tea in the pool, and so yeah, we just sort of spent a lot of time in the pool chilling and larking about. So one of the villages on Paxos is called Laka, and this is my favourite village on the island, and this is my favourite restaurant. The owner here is so lovely, and he'll take you in and show you all the things that he's cooking. So yeah, we just had a meal there one evening with a little beer, and then this is another restaurant. There's lots around in the village which are lovely, and then so these are some of the napkins and business cards that are stuck in. And then we also went past this shop one day, and there was a little dog outside. His name's Dylan, so we got some pictures with him there. He was so cute. And then obviously these pictures were taken as the sun was setting. I just think the light is absolutely beautiful. I need to find a new word to describe Paxos, but beautiful kind of sums it up. So this is another part of the village of Laka. So it is a coastal village, and I think the water is just absolutely beautiful, and the whole scenery. So there are quite a lot of boats moored up, but that doesn't detract from how pretty it is. And then there's like a little path that leads up the hillside which you can climb. It's a bit of a trek, but it's well worth it. So, and just the colour of that water is just absolutely beautiful. If someone says to me, what's your favourite colour? Like, this is. I need to find a way to describe it. But yeah, sort of with the trees as well. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I've been to Paxos before, and if you climb up this hillside, you then get to the top of a cliff, and there's like a little secret path that then comes down to a secret beach. If you look at it on a map, it's actually called Secret Beach, and so I thought we could go and find that. However, it wasn't so secret because there was someone else there, which was really annoying. I was like, no, I want the beach to ourselves. But we still have fun, sort of just lounging in the water and taking some pictures. And sort of all over the island, the water is just beautiful. The only thing about Paxos is that all the majority of the beaches are pebble. So I do take sort of, my uncle calls them gimp shoes, but take some like beach shoes to wear in the water. And so you can do some climbing on the rocks. So yeah, it's lots to do. And then there's just some more pictures of us on the secret beach. So yeah, you can sort of lay your towel down. There's no sunbeds, but yeah, I say apart from the two other people that were there, it's really secluded and really, really quiet. And then the next day we drove to a place called Tripitus Arch. So we had to park in a village about a 10-minute walk away. We parked in Ozias, and then parked the car and then had to do a little walk. But there's lots of signs, and it's sort of down dirt tracks again, which the scenery is really pretty, so it's not too much of a tricky walk. And then we saw this really cool lizard. So I managed to get a zoomed in picture of him or her, who knows. So if you're scared of heights, this is probably not the place for you, but the landscape is just absolutely beautiful. So once you've kind of got to the top of the hill, it's then sort of a bit of a steep walk down, but I mean the colour of the water is just amazing, and the arch itself is really cool. And then you can actually walk over the arch, so this is me on it and there. And then Lee is not a fan of heights, so he bless him, he chose to stay at the top of the hill, but he managed to venture down a little bit and got a little picture of him there, so yeah, I was proud of him for doing that. But well worth a visit to see here. It's absolutely beautiful. Again with the beautiful, you get my picture here. So then this is another one of the villages called Logos. I'd not actually been here before, so we drove the car and parked it up and then had a little walk in the village. So where the tables of the tavernas are, this is actually the road, and the buses go through here. So if you're, there is one restaurant, I don't think I've got a picture of it, where, yeah, sure, literally you could reach out and touch the bus. It gets that close to the tavernas. But yeah, Logos is really pretty, sort of a little fishing harbour. It's only really got a handful of tavernas, but it's very quiet and peaceful. So yeah, we ate at Taverna Nassos, and the food was lovely. And then we just sort of sat people watching and watched all the little boats bobbing about. And there was another little doggy that we made pals with, but forgot to get a picture of him. And then this is Gaios, which is the biggest of the three towns, and it's really not that big at all. So yeah, we went here for dinner one night, and we also had a little walkabout during the day one day. So yeah, this is sort of the main harbour point where a lot of boats moor up. So we sat and had a little drink, and then we tried to see if there with the underwater camera if there was any sort of sea life about, but there wasn't really that much. Again, the water's just absolutely beautiful. And then got some pictures of the buildings. I think they're really cool. And there's a statue here of someone who, it looks like the Olympic flame, but I can't actually remember who he is, but tried to recreate the pose. We were really lucky with the weather, considering we went the last week of May. It wasn't too hot. It was sort of mid-20s, which was just nice, and we managed to avoid the rain, even though it was a little bit cloudy, but most of the time it was just clear blue skies. And then we had a little drive up to a viewpoint where you can see kind of, this is part of Gaios, but you can see sort of where the boats come in. And then we had an ice cream at Capriccio's, which was really yummy. And then we just had a little wander around the town. And then one day we got the boat over to another little island called Paxos. So where all the beaches on Paxos are pebbles, this is just pure white sand. It is absolutely beautiful, and the colour of the water is amazing. So we caught the little water taxis over. I think it was something like €25 per person return. So it is quite pricey. It's only a 15-minute journey, but you know, it's well worth it. So yeah, this was us on the boat, and then we arrived. And there is actually, this is the page that I've got the video for where I'm making my scrapbook. So I'll leave that link below if you want to see how I did this. And then when we got there, we just sort of chilled on the beach. There's not really anything to do on Paxos, and there's no villas or shops or anything. There's just the beach with a handful of tavernas. But yeah, it's pretty cool for a chilled day trip. So yeah, just got some pictures of us on the beach. And then we found this sort of like it's not really a cave, it's more a rock, and just took some pictures here. Yeah, that was a cool day. And then this is another beach on the island called Monodendry, which is another pebbly beach, but again the water is just so clear. As we were walking, so we could walk to here from our villa, and we sort of walked past some orange trees, which was really cool. And then I put this picture of a jellyfish in because the last time I came here there was an infestation of jellyfish on the beach, but luckily they weren't there this year. And yeah, I like this beach because there's sort of more rocks that you can climb, and we did actually see a couple of crabs and some cool fish, so that was fun to do. So yeah, just again took some more pictures, and then sort of chilled on the beach for a bit and went for a swim in the sea. So yeah, apart from one other place in Greece, Paxos is definitely my favourite. And then we went to another beach another day, so this was called Marmari, and you actually had to park at a beach called Levrico and then walk around, so you can't actually get to this by car, you can only get to it by foot. Again, it's another pebbly beach, but if you've got your beach shoes they're fine. So we sort of went for a little swim, and then we climbed over these rocks over here and sort of did some rock climbing. Yeah, we laid on this bit for a little bit and had a bit of a sunbathe, and we saw some more crabs here, so the sea life is pretty cool, and some sea urchins, not as cool, but yeah, they were cool to see. And again, the water is just so clear and it's really lovely to swim in. So yeah, we sort of sunbathed for a little bit, and yeah, spent the whole afternoon here, which was cool. We'd heard this was the best beach for snorkeling, so yeah, we did a little bit, and that's where we saw the fish and the crabs. So yeah, definitely good for snorkeling here. And then these next 2 pages are just devoted to the food that we ate. I absolutely love Greek food, so always make a note to document it. So we had a couple of milkshakes in a bar relaxing by the harbour, which was really nice, and then we had lots of ice cream throughout the week. There was lots of seafood available on Paxos, so Lee had a whole sea bass, and he tried an octopus tentacle as well. And then on our last night, to make the most of the Greek food, we had Italian. But yeah, no, the pizza and the carbonara were really yummy. And then had a gyros, sat by the harbour in Gaios, which was lovely. Absolutely love pita gyroses. And then Lee had shrimp saganaki, and the prawns were huge. And we had Grandma Lola's chicken, which was stuffed with tomatoes, feta and mushroom, and then the sauce was like a Parmesan cheese sauce. I've tried to recreate this since I've been home, and was nowhere near as good as this. And then love a Greek salad, so had many of those as well. So I think, yeah, that is it. Of course I ended on the food pages. So yeah, that's our trip to Paxos. If you made it through to the end, thank you very much for watching, and I will be back soon. Bye!